You think you can talk to me like that and still expect respect? I screamed, the back of my throat burning, my voice shaking with rage and heartbreak. He stood inches from me, my own grandson, eyes narrowed, lips curled in that smug little smirk he got from his father. You're just old. You're not in charge anymore, he spat, his voice like ice. Why don't you just go sit down and die already? Before I could even breathe, his hand slammed into my chest. My heels slipped. The dock vanished beneath me, and then cold. Freezing. Black. Water everywhere. I couldn't scream. I couldn't move. Above the surface, I heard him laughing. And in that moment, while I sank deeper into that lake, I realized something. I wasn't drowning just from the water. I was drowning in betrayal. Before we start, please make sure to like this video and hit this subscribe button, so you never miss a story like this, and also comments where you are watching from. Thanks. I don't know what hit me harder, the water, or the truth. I raised this boy. Held him in my arms when his mama walked out. Gave up my job, my peace, my golden years just to see him smile again. And now? That same boy looked down at me, flailing in the water, like I was nothing but a joke. Don't be so dramatic, Grandma, he yelled, hands on his hips, grinning. It's just water. You'll float. I wasn't floating. I was choking. I was sinking. I was remembering every sacrifice I ever made to keep that child alive. And he was standing there, laughing. You know how they say your life flashes before your eyes when you're dying? Mine didn't. What flashed before my eyes was every time I forgave him. Every time I said, he's still young. Every time I cleaned up his messes, made excuses to the school, to the police, to the neighbors. Every time I believed that deep down, deep down, there was still that sweet little boy who used to bring me dandelions and call me his best girl. But that boy was gone. In his place stood something colder than that lake water. I don't know how I managed to grab the rope tied to the post, or how I hauled myself up. My body was numb. But my mind? My mind was on fire. I stumbled back onto the dock, coughing up water, my chest heaving. My soaked dress clung to me like shame. And there he was, checking his phone, bored already. Don't look at me like that, he said, not even glancing up. You're the one who's always playing the victim. That's when I snapped. I marched up to him, water dripping from my hair, and I slapped that phone right out of his hand. It skidded across the dock and hit the edge with a crack. Did I raise you to be this cruel? I shouted. My voice broke, but I didn't care anymore. Do you even hear yourself? Do you even see what you've become? He scoffed and shoved me back again, not hard enough to knock me down this time, but hard enough to make his point. You raised me to be a survivor, he said. And survivors don't listen to weak people. Weak. That word echoed. Wrapped around my ribs like chains. I was never weak, I said, shaking. I was tired. I was lonely. I was sacrificing. He turned his back to me, already walking away. Keep your drama, Grandma. I'll be at Marcus's place. Don't wait up. And just like that, he left me. Soaked. Shivering. Alone. I stood there for a long time after he left. Watching the ripples settle on the lake. My fists clenched at my sides. My heart thudding like it was trying to tell me something. That was the moment everything changed. That's the moment I stopped making excuses. You see, the thing no one tells you about being the caregiver, the protector, the soft place to land, is that people forget you were strong long before they were born. That you fought battles they'll never see. That your silence is not weakness, it's restraint. And when that restraint breaks, God help whoever's standing in the way. The next morning, I didn't make him breakfast. I didn't wash his clothes. I didn't ask where he was or when he'd be home. Instead, I packed up every single piece of paperwork he'd ever ignored. Every school warning, every police notice, every late bill in my name that came from his spending. I took it all to the social worker. I told them everything. I told them I was done covering for him. That I couldn't, and wouldn't, let this continue. That if no one else was going to set him straight, I'd at least step aside and let life do it. That night, when he came stumbling and smelling like weed and bad choices, he found the locks changed. He banged on the door, yelling, cursing, calling me names no child should say to anyone, let alone the woman who raised him. I didn't open it. I sat inside, holding the family photo from when he was 6. His front teeth missing. That goofy little smile. My arm around him, proud as ever. And I cried. Not because I felt guilty, but because I finally understood. Love doesn't mean letting yourself be destroyed. Love isn't covering up someone else's damage with your own skin. Love is knowing when to stop letting them hurt you, so maybe, just maybe, they'll have a chance to see what they've done. 3 days later, the cops called. They found him vandalizing someone's car. Hi. Angry. Lost. Do you want to press charges? The officer asked. And for a moment, I almost said no. But then I remembered the lake. The water. His laugh. Yes, I said. I want him to face what he's become. It hurt. God, it hurt. But sometimes, love isn't warm. Sometimes, love is sharp. And sometimes, love is walking away so they can finally see who they're pushing into the water. The house was quiet after that. Too quiet. You don't notice the small sounds until they're gone, the creak of his bedroom door slamming in a tantrum, the muffled bass of his music at midnight, the sound of chips being crunched straight from the bag like he owned the world. Now? Just the ticking clock. The refrigerator humming. My own breath. I thought I'd feel peace. Relief, maybe. But instead, I just felt hollow. Like I'd torn off a piece of myself and locked it outside in the cold. And even though I knew I did the right thing, that pain didn't go away. It stayed. And every time I sat at the kitchen table, the one I used to beg him to eat at, just to have one meal together, I looked across at the empty chair and wondered, was it too late? Had I already lost him for good? But there's something funny about pain. After it breaks you, it teaches you. If you let it, it makes you clearer. Sharper. Like fire burning away the fog. And that fire told me this, I may not have failed him. But he needed to fail. Because some kids, especially the ones who think they're grown, don't learn until the floor gives way under them. The court ordered him into a youth reform program, structured rehabilitation, they called it. I didn't visit. Not at first. I couldn't. I needed him to sit in that silence, the way I had. I needed him to taste the consequences, not just swallow them whole and expect me to clean up the mess after. Weeks passed. Then one day, I got a letter. Not a text. Not a voicemail. A real letter. His handwriting, messy and rushed, the same way it looked when he first learned to write his name on the fridge calendar in 2nd grade. It wasn't long. Grandma, you were right. I messed up bad. I thought I was hurting you, but I was killing myself too. I don't know why I pushed you. I don't know why I laughed. I just felt angry at everything, and you were always there, so I blamed you. I don't expect you to forgive me. But I think I'm finally starting to see what you meant. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. For real this time. I read that letter 5 times. Then I folded it, pressed it to my chest, and let myself cry. Not the kind of tears that come from pain. The kind that come from release. The kind that come when a door cracks open after being shut for too long. The next week, I went to see him. He looked different. Not just thinner, quieter. Like some of the pride had melted off and left the boy underneath. He didn't meet my eyes right away. He didn't call me drama queen or roll his eyes or bark that I was overreacting. He just said, "Hi." And that was enough. We didn't hug. Not right away. But we sat. We talked. He listened. And for the first time in years, I saw the boy again. Not the angry, cruel teen I'd come to fear. But the child who used to curl up beside me with a book and whisper, "I love you more than all the stars." He asked if he could come home once he was out. I told him, "Only if you understand what that means." "It means you don't clean up after me anymore," he said. I nodded. "It means I work. I pull weight." I nodded again. "It means I earn trust back." And this time, he nodded. Slowly. Like it hadn't just come from his mouth, but from deep inside. Months later, he came home. The locks hadn't changed again, but he had. He asked questions instead of assuming. He said thank you without sarcasm. He started cooking eggs. Not just for himself, but for me. One morning, I heard the blender going. I walked into the kitchen, ready to scold him for the mess, and found him making a smoothie. He turned, smiled sheepishly, and said, "Don't worry. I'll clean it up. This one's for you." That's when I finally believed it. Change doesn't always come from soft love. Sometimes it comes from the kind of love that lets you fall. That lets you suffer. That stands back while the world gives you what you asked for, just so you can see it's not what you wanted. I still remember the lake. I still remember the cold. But I remember the letter, too. And the apology. And the way he looked at me that day in the rehab facility, like a kid who'd finally seen what his anger had done. And that's the thing. Kids don't just need love. They need boundaries. They need truth. They need someone who'll love them enough to say, "No. You don't get to drown me," and call it growing up. I was that someone. And now? He's becoming someone, too. Someone I can be proud of again. Not because he's perfect. But because he finally knows what it means to try. It's been almost a year now. The seasons changed, the leaves turned, the snow came and went, and now the lake is calm again. The same lake that nearly took me under. Sometimes I sit by it, just watching the water move, gentle now. Like even it remembers what happened and has softened. My grandson sits beside me sometimes. He brings a folding chair, a little thermos of coffee, always offers to pour mine first. He talks about work now, about trying to get into night classes, about helping at the center that once helped him. The boy who used to push people away now spends his time pulling others back from the edge. And every so often, he pauses, glances at the water, and I see it in his eyes. Regret. Not guilt, not anymore. Not the kind that eats you alive. But the kind that teaches you. The kind that whispers, "Don't forget what it cost." We don't talk about the lake. We don't have to. It's between us always, not like a wall, but like a scar. He knows what he did. I know what I survived. And somewhere in the space between those truths, forgiveness found a home. People ask me how I forgave him. The truth? I didn't, at first. I let myself be angry. I let myself be hurt. I let the wound bleed until it was clean. Only then could I start to rebuild. Forgiveness, you see, isn't forgetting. It's remembering and choosing love anyway. It's saying, what you did wasn't okay. But I still believe you can be better. That's the gift I gave him. And maybe, just maybe, the gift I finally gave to myself. Because I had spent so many years pouring from an empty cup. Letting myself be walked over, talked down to, ignored, disrespected, all in the name of keeping peace. But peace built on silence is a lie. Peace without truth is just pressure. And pressure always explodes. That day on the dock? That was my explosion. My breaking point. And maybe I needed it, not just to wake him up, but to wake me up. Because I finally saw what love had made me forget. I deserve respect, too. My boundaries matter, too. my life, my body, my soul, they matter. And I'll tell you something else, I am not too old. I am not too dramatic. I am not disposable just because I'm tired or gray-haired or not cool anymore. I am a woman who survived. I raised a family, buried a husband, built a home with nothing but grit and prayer. I gave everything, and I still stand. So no, I wasn't drowning from water that day. I was drowning from being invisible. And I refuse to ever be unseen again. These days, he hugs me before he leaves the house. Says, "Love you, Grandma," like it's a habit now. Small things. But small things, over time, can rebuild what was broken. He still stumbles. Still gets it wrong sometimes. But now? He apologizes. He listens. He tries. And that's all I ever wanted. Not perfection. Just effort. Because at the end of the day, love without effort is just noise. And I've had enough noise in my life. So if you're listening to this, if you're mother, a grandmother, a sister, a father, a brother, if you've been pushed down, laughed at, made to feel like you don't matter, let me be the one to tell you. You do. You matter. And it is not love to let someone drown you just because they're still learning to swim. Sometimes, the kindest thing you can do is let them feel the cold. Let them struggle. Let them see what life looks like without your hand holding theirs. So that when they come back, if they come back, they know the value of the person who stayed by their side even when it hurt. My grandson pushed me into the lake. But I didn't drown. I rose. I rebuilt. And now? So has he. Moral of the story. Sometimes, love means letting go, so they can finally learn how to hold on.